The Outer Frontier. Book 1. The Declaration of War. Chapter 5. Ghosts Beyond the Frontier. The Imperial Fleet departed Kepra without resistance. No human warships pursued them. No defensive formations assembled. No ultimatum was issued. The silence itself had become unsettling. For Admiral Cassian Valor, it violated every principle of military strategy. An enemy that refused to react was either hopelessly incompetent or frighteningly confident. He disliked both possibilities. 3 days later, the fleet reached the edge of recognized Galactic Union navigation charts. Beyond this point, commercial traffic became almost non-existent. Civilian transponders disappeared. Trade routes faded from the tactical display. Even the stars seemed farther apart. Navigation Officer Saren spoke quietly. "Admiral, we are approaching the last officially surveyed sector." Valor nodded. "Proceed." No hesitation. No change of course. The fleet crossed the invisible boundary. Nothing happened. At first. 6 hours later. "Contact." The word echoed across the bridge. "Source. Drifting object. Distance. 200,000 kilometers." The main display magnified the contact. It was a ship, or what remained of one. The hull was twisted beyond recognition. Entire sections appeared melted rather than destroyed. Armor plating had folded inward like softened metal. The vessel rotated slowly through empty space. Dark, lifeless, no transponder, no power, no escape pods. Commander Terrell frowned. "I don't recognize the design." Neither did anyone else. The ship belonged to no civilization recorded by the Galactic Union. Boarding teams crossed the void. The internal corridors were silent. Weapons lay scattered across the decks. Walls were scarred by impacts, unlike any known energy weapon. Entire compartments had been ripped open from within. Lieutenant Saris transmitted her report. "No survivors." She paused. "No bodies either." The Admiral looked up. "What do you mean?" "There are signs of battle. Extensive battle. We've recovered biological residue." Another hesitation. "But nothing matches any Union species." Silence settled over the bridge. Hours later, another wreck. Then another. Then 4 more. None shared the same design. None carried recognizable markings. None appeared to belong to any known civilization. Every vessel had suffered catastrophic damage. Some looked centuries old. Others, only days. The fleet continued deeper into the darkness. Navigation became increasingly difficult. Entire regions displayed unusual gravitational distortions. Long-range sensors experienced intermittent interference. Subspace communications became unreliable. It was as though the galaxy itself resisted observation. The next discovery silenced the bridge. A planet, not inhabited, dead. Its atmosphere had been burned away. Entire continents were covered by enormous black scars visible from orbit. Cities, if they had ever existed, were gone. Only geometric shadows remained etched into the crust. Science Officer Hellion spoke almost in disbelief. "There are traces of orbital bombardment." Commander Terrell crossed his arms. "No." Hellion looked at him. "No weapon we possess could produce these thermal patterns." The scans continued. Deep beneath the surface, immense underground structures. collapsed. Whatever civilization had once lived there, it had not simply lost a war. It had disappeared. Late that evening, another report reached the admiral. Recovered from one of the derelict vessels. A damaged recording core. Only fragments remained. Engineers reconstructed what they could. The image flickered into existence. Static. Distortion. A bridge crew unlike any species known to the Dominion. Panic. Warning lights. Someone shouting in an unknown language. Then, the camera turned toward the forward viewport. The recording froze. Even damaged. The shape was unmistakable. Something enormous. Far larger than the ship itself. Impossible to identify. Its outline seemed to shift continuously. No clear geometry. No visible propulsion. Only darkness. Moving. The recording ended abruptly. The bridge remained silent. Commander Terrell finally spoke. What was that? No one answered. Not because they were afraid. Because no one had an answer. Near midnight ship time, the communications officer approached quietly. Admiral. Yes. I've compared all recovered wreckage. And they have one thing in common. Vaylor looked up. They're all facing the same direction. The officer enlarged a three-dimensional map. Every drifting vessel, every destroyed station, every field of debris formed a rough line, pointing outward, toward the outermost regions of the spiral arm, as though every ship had been fleeing from the same place. Admiral Vaylor stood alone before the observation window long after the bridge lights had dimmed. Behind him, the crew worked in near silence. Ahead, only darkness. Somewhere in that darkness, hundreds of human military convoys continued to disappear beyond sensor range. Not one had turned back. Not one had asked the Dominion for assistance. Not one had even acknowledged the strange graveyard through which they all seemed accustomed to travel. Vaylor had begun this campaign, believing he understood the frontier. Now, for the first time in his career, he realized the maps of the Galactic Union did not end because there was nothing beyond them. They ended because no one had kept looking.